Hello and welcome to this tutorial and welcome to SAP Learning Academy. In this tutorial, I will be discussing about one of the new product of SAP, that is SAP BPC 11.0. And in this session, I will be telling you the basics. I mean that what do you mean by SAP BPC and what types of tasks and work that you do with this product, and also how does it relevant with the previous product of SAP IP. And first, if you are not very sure about the what is integrated planning or business planning, so let me tell you that in any organization, we have to forecast the data for the planning of the sales, cost, or many other parts in the organization. So we should do the planning, and SAP has provided the various tools and also the boxes. Like if I talk about the SAP integrated planning, so it has been used widely and still used now. What SAP has done, SAP has introduced the name of this old version to SAP BPC, and where the SAP database is the HANA. And SAP IP SAP IP meaning that integrated planning. So integrated planning can run on any database because it is based on the ABAP framework, so it can work on SAP HANA database or any other database like DB2 or MySQL. But when it comes to SAP BPC, so when SAP HANA comes into market, so SAP BPC is only relevant to it. So if I talk about BPC, so is related to HANA DB. And let me tell all my viewers that it is very important to understand the relationship between this old version and the new version. And there are actually there's not much of technical changes, or if you are a SAP consultant working on this integrated planning, so it will not take time to understand what is BPC, because what we had in the earlier version of integrated planning, like if I talk about composite provider, right? In the earlier version we had multi-provider. So now what do we do? Now we are changing into this composite provider. So those things are simply the same. Like if I talk about cube is changing to ADSO, and so on. And only the basic changes are this part, like what we had to use multi-provider, now we have to use composite provider for creating the aggregation level. And suppose if you are creating directly on cube, now you have to do an ADSO if I talk about this BPC. So the basic part, and this is the part of this migration part, where if you are actually converting into your old BW system into the new BW system, like if I talk about SAP BW4 HANA, so in that case you have to do these changes. So the other things like same, like if I talk about aggregation level, and if I talk about, then you create filters, then you create this planning function, you create planning sequence. So those things are the core part. The core technical part is completely same with the new version and the old version. The new version is only relevant with this SAP HANA and functionalities, like we talk about this composite provider and ADSOs, right? The other things are actually same. And like in this we can use the data slice and the characteristics relationship as usual what we did in the earlier version. So in terms of technical, there are not much changes. So, but there are what the major changes that we can see now in the front end reporting. Since SAP is moving more into the cloud, I mean this user-friendly, planning. So that's why SAP has introduced some of the things like Design Studio. So now it is named as Lumira. Lumira is a higher version of Design Studio. Design Studio is 1.6 and Lumira is 2.0. So these are the web-based, web-based platform where actually we can access these functions like whatever the planning sequence or planning function you create. So those things actually you can access in the Lumira or Design Studio, and you can do the further planning, and this is actually the web based. And also in the older version SAP Integrated Planning, we can still access this planning sequence into this Lumira and then analysis for Office. This is also great and important tool which is actually Excel based. You need to remember that. So here also you can access whatever projects, whatever objects you create, that you can access Lumira and analysis for Office in both the places. So the only changes that we cannot have in these SAP older versions of the license, but in the newer version we have that. That is the BPC client. So what is that? It's a BPC client. So BPC client is a new tool which comes with this SAP BPC 11.0 license. So what it has that it is actually web-based. So it is actually a user-friendly and also kind of a technology that we can do planning, and which is giving some more flexibility on the user point of view. Like if I talk about analysis for Office or Lumira, so where we can find little bit of travel like in terms of navigations, but since BPC client is web based and it is quite faster as it will be relevant to SAP HANA database. So I believe that is the part that I wanted to share in this tutorial. The what is the difference between this older version SAP Integrated Planning and the new version, and let me tell you that there's not much changes except there are few as I discussed here. So you can see my tutorials about this integrated planning in this channel, so you will be understanding whole concept about it, and that's it. So thank you for watching my video. Have a nice day.